Maya stood in the grocery store aisle, her hands lightly resting on the shopping cart. The bright fluorescent lights hummed quietly above, casting a soft glow on the colorful shelves stacked with food. She looked at the small list she had carefully written earlier that morning. The list was short, just the basics she needed for her 2 children, Lily and Jordan. Milk, bread, eggs, some fruits, and their favorite cereal. She moved slowly through the aisle, checking prices on each item with a practiced eye. Maya knew exactly how much money she had in her bank account, and every penny counted. She carefully picked up a loaf of whole wheat bread and placed it in the cart. Then she grabbed a carton of milk, making sure it wasn't expired. As she walked to the checkout line, her heart felt heavy but determined. She wanted her children to have a good meal tonight. After all, they had already been through so much. Lily, her sweet 8-year-old daughter, had just started 2nd grade, full of curiosity and endless questions about the world. Jordan, her lively 5-year-old son, was always full of energy and laughter, running around with his small arms stretched wide like he wanted to hug the whole world. Maya smiled softly, thinking of them. She wanted to give them everything she could, even if it was just a small bit of comfort on difficult days. But the truth was, money was tight. She had been working 3 jobs for months now, cleaning offices at night, serving tables during the day, and helping at a local daycare on weekends. The long hours left her tired, but she never complained. For her children, she would do anything. At the checkout counter, Maya placed her groceries one by one onto the conveyor belt. The cashier, a young man named Sam, greeted her with a kind smile. "Good afternoon, Maya. Looks like you're picking up some favorites." Maya nodded, trying to return his smile. "Yes, just the usual," she said softly. "They love the cereal." Sam scanned the items quickly, and the total amount appeared on the screen. Maya's heart pounded as she reached into her purse for her debit card. She wiped her sweaty hands on her jeans before sliding the card through the machine. The machine beeped once, then twice. The screen flashed a message, "Card declined." Maya froze. Her breath caught in her throat. She tried again, but the same message appeared. Her face flushed with embarrassment. She looked down at the floor, feeling the weight of the eyes around her. Some people waiting in line stared, while others tried to look away, pretending not to notice. Maya felt like the whole world was watching. "I'm so sorry," she said quietly, her voice trembling. "There must be a mistake." Sam looked at her with understanding eyes but said gently, "Maybe try another card or some cash." Maya shook her head. "I don't have any cash." The silence in the store grew thick. Maya felt tears prick her eyes, but she blinked them away. She did not want anyone to see her cry. She took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. "I'll just put some things back." Sam nodded kindly, stepping aside to help her. Maya began removing some of the groceries, starting with the cereal. She put it back on the shelf, then the fruits, then the bread. Her hands shook a little. She thought of Lily and Jordan waiting at home, asking for their favorite cereal. She thought of the nights they spent together, laughing, playing games, and reading stories. How could she explain this to them? Maya felt the pain of failing as a mother, even though she worked so hard every day. Her heart ached. She didn't want to be this kind of mother, the one who couldn't provide. Just then, a voice interrupted her thoughts. "Excuse me, miss," said a man standing in the next line. He was dressed simply in a plain shirt and jeans, with a calm and gentle face. "Let me help you." Maya looked up, surprised. The man smiled warmly. "I can pay for your groceries." Maya shook her head quickly. "No, thank you. I can manage." The man didn't push. "Please. Sometimes, everyone needs a little help." Maya hesitated. Pride held her back, but the kindness in his eyes made her pause. Slowly, she nodded. "Thank you," she whispered. The man handed his card to Sam, who scanned the groceries again. The payment went through without any problem. Maya felt a mix of gratitude and shame. "I don't know how to thank you," she said softly. The man smiled again. "You don't have to. Just take care of your children." Maya gathered her bags and turned to leave. The man watched her go, a thoughtful look in his eyes. Outside, Maya took a deep breath, clutching her bags tightly. The sky was gray with soft rain starting to fall. She thought about what had just happened. For a moment, she allowed herself to believe that maybe, just maybe, things could get better. As she walked home, her heart was still heavy, but a small flicker of hope burned quietly inside her. Thomas stood a few feet away in the checkout line, quietly watching the scene with a calm expression. He wasn't someone who usually paid much attention to people's lives in public places. Most days, he was busy running his company, making important decisions, and attending meetings in tall glass buildings far away from small grocery stores. But today was different. Today, something about the woman Maya had caught his attention. She moved slowly, carefully putting groceries into the cart. When her card was declined, he saw the way her shoulders sank and how her eyes quickly looked away. He saw the way she held back tears and how quietly she began to put things back on the shelves. Thomas felt a tug in his heart. He couldn't explain it. Maybe it was because he remembered his own mother, years ago, when she was going through hard times. Or maybe it was simply the kindness that lives deep inside all people waiting to be shown. Thomas had spent much of his life in the world of business and money. He was the CEO of a large company and had more than enough wealth. But in recent months, he had been feeling empty, as if something important was missing. Seeing Maya struggling, with such quiet strength, reminded him of what he really wanted in life. He stepped forward quietly after she tried to leave without paying. "Excuse me, miss," he said gently. Maya turned, startled to see a stranger offering help. He smiled kindly. "I want to pay for your groceries. Please don't worry about it." Maya looked at him with surprise and hesitation. Pride was strong inside her. She was not used to accepting help from strangers. "Thank you, but I can manage," she said softly, shaking her head. Thomas looked into her eyes and said, "Everyone needs a hand sometimes. It's okay." After a moment, Maya nodded, her voice small. "Thank you." Thomas handed his card to the cashier, and the payment went through without trouble. Maya collected her bags quietly, her heart still heavy but touched by the kindness. Thomas stepped back, watching her leave. There was something about her that made him want to know more. Later that day, Thomas sat in his large office, looking out at the city below. The walls were filled with awards and pictures of his family, but today none of it seemed important. His mind kept returning to Maya's face, the tired but hopeful look in her eyes. He picked up his phone and called his assistant. "Cancel all my meetings for the next few days," he said. "I need to take some time for myself." His assistant was surprised but didn't argue. Thomas had been working non-stop, and she knew he sometimes needed a break. The next morning, Thomas returned to the same grocery store. He wasn't sure what he would say to Maya or if he would even see her again. But he felt a strange hope, like maybe this meeting was important. He waited near the entrance, watching the customers come and go. The store was busy with people picking up their daily needs, some rushing, some chatting with friends or family. After a while, he saw Maya enter the store. She looked tired but determined, pushing a smaller cart this time. She was wearing a simple jacket and a scarf wrapped tightly around her neck. Her hair was pulled back, and she moved carefully, checking the shelves. Thomas felt a gentle smile spread across his face. He walked over and said softly, "Hello, Maya." Maya looked up, startled. You again, she said with a small smile. I didn't expect to see you here. Thomas nodded. I wanted to make sure you were okay. I also left something for you with the cashier yesterday. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small card. Maya took the card and read it slowly. It was an invitation to meet for coffee, just to talk, no pressure, no judgment. Thomas wanted to learn her story, not as a businessman, but as a person. Maya hesitated. Her heart told her to say no, to protect herself from more disappointment. But her curiosity was stronger. Maybe this was a chance to talk with someone who cared. She finally said, "Okay. I'll come." That afternoon, they met at a small, quiet cafe. The place smelled of fresh coffee and warm bread. The sun shone softly through the windows, casting a golden light over the tables. Maya sat nervously, twisting her scarf in her hands. Thomas smiled gently and said, "Thank you for coming." They talked slowly at first, about simple things: the weather, the cafe, the city. But soon, Maya felt more comfortable. She shared stories about her children, Lily and Jordan, and how she worked hard every day to give them a better life. Thomas listened carefully, never interrupting. He was surprised by how much he admired Maya's strength. She didn't ask for pity or handouts, she only wanted a chance. Maya spoke about her dream of opening a small bakery, a place where people could feel welcome and find comfort in fresh bread and sweet treats. But the money and time needed seemed impossible for her. Thomas felt something stir inside him, a desire to help in a way that mattered. As the afternoon light faded, Thomas stood up and said, "Maya, I want you to know something. I don't want to just help you today. I want to believe in your dream." Maya looked at him, surprised and unsure. "Why would you do that?" Thomas smiled softly. "Because I believe that when we help others, we all become better." Maya nodded slowly, hope beginning to grow in her heart. That day, both Maya and Thomas felt the start of something new, not just a connection, but the possibility of change. Two lives, very different in many ways, were beginning to come together through kindness, hope, and belief. The next morning, Maya woke up early before the children. The small apartment was still quiet, except for the soft sounds of the city waking up outside her window. She sat at the tiny kitchen table, her hands wrapped around a warm cup of tea. Her thoughts were filled with the meeting from the day before, the kind man who had offered to listen, who had believed in her dreams. For a long time, Maya had kept her hopes locked inside her heart, hidden from the world. Life had been hard, and she had learned not to trust too easily. But something about Thomas felt different. Not because of his money or his power, but because he had taken time to see her not just as a person asking for help, but as someone with dreams and strength. Maya's two children, Lily and Jordan, soon came running into the kitchen, their laughter filling the small room with joy. Lily's hair was messy from sleep, and Jordan had already found his favorite stuffed toy. "Mom, can we have pancakes today?" Lily asked, her eyes bright and hopeful. Maya smiled, feeling a warmth in her chest. "Yes, pancakes it is." As the children ate, Maya made a promise to herself. She would work harder, dream bigger, and not give up. For her kids, she wanted a better life, one filled with laughter and hope, not worry and fear. Later that day, Maya returned to work at the daycare center. She loved the children there, but the job was not enough to cover all the bills. Still, she greeted the little ones with a bright smile, even when she felt tired. During her break, she took out the small card Thomas had given her. It was a simple invitation to meet again, but for Maya, it felt like a doorway opening to something new. She decided she would go. That afternoon, Thomas sat in a quiet corner of a nearby park. The sun shone gently through the leaves of the tall trees, and children's laughter floated in the air. Thomas often came here to think, away from the noise of his busy life. When Maya arrived, she was surprised to see how peaceful the place was. They sat on a wooden bench, and for a moment, neither spoke. Thomas finally broke the silence. "I've been thinking a lot about what you said yesterday. About your bakery dream." Maya looked down, feeling a little shy. "It's just a dream. I don't know if I can make it real." Thomas shook his head. "Dreams are the first step to something real. But they need help to grow." Maya looked at him with curiosity. "What do you mean?" Thomas smiled softly. "I want to help you. Not just with words, but with action. I know a place, an empty space that could be your bakery. It's small but perfect for a start." Maya's eyes widened. "Are you serious?" "Yes," Thomas said. "I want to offer you the space. You can use it to bake and sell your bread. I will support you, but you will be in charge." Maya felt a rush of emotions: fear, hope, excitement, and disbelief all mixed together. "Why would you do that for me?" Thomas looked at her honestly. "Because someone once helped me when I needed it most. Now it's my turn to help others. You have the heart and the strength to make this work." For the next few days, Maya thought deeply about Thomas's offer. She talked with Lily and Jordan about it, explaining that it might mean new challenges but also new opportunities. The children were excited, their eyes shining with hope. Maya also spoke with her closest friend, Sarah, who encouraged her to take the chance. "You deserve this, Maya. You've worked so hard. Don't be afraid." Finally, Maya made her decision. She would accept Thomas's offer and start the bakery. The day they visited the space together was full of promise. The room was small but clean, with big windows that let in the sunlight. It needed some work, but Maya could already imagine the smell of fresh bread, the warm light of the oven, and the happy customers. Thomas watched Maya as she walked around the room, her eyes shining with excitement. He could see the dream coming alive in her heart. "I will help you with everything you need," he said. "But this is your dream. You will make it real." Maya smiled, feeling tears of joy in her eyes. "Thank you, Thomas. I won't let you down." As the days passed, Maya worked harder than ever before. She learned new recipes, planned her business, and prepared for the bakery's opening. Her children helped too, drawing colorful pictures for the shop's walls and tasting every new pastry she made. Thomas checked in often, not as a boss, but as a friend. He listened when Maya felt tired or worried and encouraged her to keep going. One evening, after a long day of baking, Maya sat on her small porch with Lily and Jordan. The sky was painted with soft shades of pink and orange, and the air was cool and fresh. Lily looked up at her mother. "Mom, do you think our bakery will make people happy?" Maya smiled and hugged her daughter tightly. "Yes, Lily. We will make a place where everyone feels welcome and loved." Jordan yawned, snuggling into Maya's side. "I can't wait to see our bakery." Maya closed her eyes for a moment, feeling a deep sense of peace. For the first time in a long time, she believed that better days were coming, not just for her family, but for everyone who walked through her bakery's door. That night, Maya dreamed of warm ovens, fresh bread, and the laughter of happy customers. She dreamed of hope, courage, and the quiet strength that had carried her this far. And she knew, deep inside, that this was only the beginning. Thomas sat in his office, staring out of the large window at the busy city below. The streets were alive with people hurrying by, cars honking, and life moving fast. But inside the tall glass building, everything felt still and quiet for a moment. Thomas's mind was not on business today. Instead, it was filled with thoughts of Maya. He kept thinking about her strength, her quiet courage, and the dream she was beginning to chase. For the first time in a long while, Thomas felt a real connection not just to his work, but to a purpose bigger than money and success. The day before, Thomas had returned to the grocery store after Maya's card was declined. It was a small act, paying for her groceries, but it had stayed with him all night. He wondered what life was like for her beyond those walls, beyond the simple basket of food. His curiosity grew. He wanted to learn more, not as a businessman, but as a human being. That afternoon, Thomas sat with his assistant, Maria, explaining his thoughts. "Maria," he said quietly, "I want to take some time away from the meetings. I want to visit that neighborhood, meet people, understand their lives." Maria looked surprised but smiled. "That sounds like a good idea. It might help you find new inspiration." Thomas nodded. He felt restless and unsure, but he knew this was something he needed to do. The next morning, Thomas dressed casually and took a taxi to the neighborhood where Maya lived. The streets were different from his usual business district: smaller shops, colorful walls, and people talking outside their homes. It was a neighborhood full of life, but also full of quiet struggles. As he walked, Thomas saw familiar faces: workers, mothers, children playing in the streets. He felt a mix of emotions: sadness for the hardships, admiration for the resilience. He stopped at a small park where children laughed and played. He watched them, smiling softly. A little boy ran up to him and asked, "Are you new here?" Thomas laughed gently. "Yes, I am." The boy grinned and ran back to his friends. Later, Thomas went back to the grocery store, hoping to see Maya again. When she entered, pushing her small cart, he stepped forward. "Hello, Maya," he said warmly. She looked surprised but smiled. "Hello, Thomas. I left a note for you at the cashier yesterday," he said. "Would you like to meet for coffee? Just to talk?" Maya hesitated, her eyes searching his face. Finally, she nodded. "Okay." They met at a small cafe near the park. The air smelled of fresh coffee and baked pastries. The cafe was quiet, with soft music playing in the background. At first, their conversation was simple, talking about the neighborhood, the children, and their favorite foods. Maya was nervous but felt comfortable with Thomas's calm, kind presence. Slowly, she began to share more about her life: how she worked hard every day, how she cared for Lily and Jordan, and the dream she held close to her heart, to open a small bakery. Thomas listened carefully, without interrupting. He asked gentle questions, wanting to understand her better. Maya spoke about her fears too: the fear of failure, the fear of never being able to give her children the life she wanted. Thomas nodded. "Those fears are real," he said. "But so is hope. And hope can take us far." Over the next few meetings, Thomas and Maya grew closer as friends. Thomas never talked about business or money. Instead, he shared stories from his childhood and the lessons he had learned from his own parents. Maya found herself opening up in ways she never had before. She told Thomas about the small joys she found in everyday life: the smile of her children, the quiet moments when the world seemed peaceful. Thomas admired her honesty and courage. He could see that Maya was not asking for charity. She wanted a chance, a way to build something on her own. One afternoon, as they sat watching the sunset behind the buildings, Thomas said softly, "I want to help you make your dream real. But only if you want it." Maya looked at him, her eyes shining. "I want it more than anything." Thomas smiled. "Then we will find a way." He promised to help Maya find a space for her bakery, to connect her with people who could teach her the business side, and to support her in every step. Maya felt hope growing inside her, stronger than ever before. She knew it would not be easy, but with Thomas's belief in her, she felt ready to try. That night, Maya sat by her window, watching the stars appear one by one in the dark sky. She thought about the kindness of a stranger, the unexpected friendship, and the chance for a new beginning. She whispered softly, "Thank you." And for the first time in a long time, She truly believed that dreams could come true. Maya woke up early the next morning with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Today was the day she would visit the space Thomas had promised her, a small room that could become her bakery. Her heart raced as she thought about what the future might hold. She wondered if this was the real beginning of her dream or just another challenge she might not overcome. Lily and Jordan were still asleep, their soft breathing filling the quiet apartment. Maya took a deep breath and smiled to herself. No matter what happened, she would keep trying for them, for herself. When Maya arrived at the small building where the bakery space was, Thomas was already waiting for her outside. He greeted her with a warm smile. "Good morning, Maya. Are you ready?" Maya nodded, her hands gripping the straps of her bag tightly. "Yes. I am." Thomas led her inside. The room was small but bright. Large windows let in sunlight, and the walls were painted a soft cream color. It needed some work, a fresh coat of paint, new shelves and equipment, but Maya could already imagine the smell of fresh bread and sweet pastries filling the air. "This place has potential," Thomas said, watching her carefully. "What do you think?" Maya looked around slowly, imagining tables and ovens and customers smiling. "I love it," she said softly. "It feels like home already." Thomas smiled. "Good. We will start by cleaning and fixing the place. Then we can look for the equipment you need." For the next few days, Maya worked hard cleaning the space. She scrubbed the floors, washed the windows, and painted the walls with soft colors she thought would feel warm and welcoming. Sometimes, her arms ached, and her body felt tired from all the work, but every time she looked around, she felt a little closer to her dream. Thomas visited often, bringing food and supplies, but more importantly, offering support and encouragement. He introduced Maya to a woman named Clara, who had owned a bakery for many years and was happy to teach Maya some important skills: how to manage costs, how to bake different breads, and how to run a small business. Clara was kind and patient, and Maya listened carefully, soaking up every word. She asked many questions and practiced baking at home, experimenting with recipes that made her family smile. One afternoon, while Maya was practicing her pastries, Lily and Jordan came to visit the bakery space. They ran around, laughing and playing, and filled the room with joy. Lily tugged on Maya's hand. "Mom, when will people come to buy the bread?" Maya knelt down to look at her daughter's bright eyes. "Soon, Lily. We are working hard to get everything ready." Jordan hugged his mother tightly. "I can't wait." Maya smiled and hugged them both. "Me too." As the opening day approached, Maya's nerves grew stronger. What if no one came? What if she failed? But she pushed those fears aside, focusing on the small victories: the clean floors, the fresh paint, the first batch of bread that smelled like home. On the morning of the opening, Thomas arrived early, carrying a bouquet of flowers for Maya. "You did this," he said quietly. "I'm proud of you." Maya felt tears in her eyes. "Thank you, Thomas. I couldn't have done it without you." Together, they opened the door to the bakery, welcoming the first customers. The small space filled with warmth and the scent of fresh bread. Maya smiled as people tasted her pastries and offered kind words. The bakery became a gathering place for the community. Neighbors stopped by not just to buy bread, but to share stories and laughter. Maya's dream was coming true, one loaf at a time. At home, Lily and Jordan were proud of their mother. "Mom, you did it," Lily said, hugging her tightly. Maya looked at her children, feeling a deep happiness she had never known before. "We did it," she said softly. That night, as Maya lay in bed, she thought about how far she had come from a moment of struggle at the grocery store to this new beginning. She closed her eyes with hope, ready for whatever came next. The bakery had been open for a few months now, and Maya was proud of what she had built. Every morning, She woke early to prepare fresh bread and pastries for the customers. The warm smell of baking filled the small shop, and the friendly faces of neighbors made her feel part of a community. Lily and Jordan often came to help after school, handing out cookies or drawing pictures that Maya hung on the walls. The bakery had become more than just a business, it was a place filled with love and hope. Thomas visited from time to time, always bringing encouragement and sometimes helping with ideas to make the bakery better. Their friendship had grown into something special built on trust and kindness. One rainy afternoon, as Maya was closing the shop, a man in a dark suit walked in. His name was Mr. Lewis, a local businessman who owned several shops in the neighborhood. He looked serious and spoke in a firm voice. "I've noticed your bakery," he said. "It's doing well, but I have some concerns." Maya listened carefully, trying to stay calm. "What kind of concerns?" Mr. Lewis looked around the small shop. "I'm worried about competition. You see, I'm planning to open a large bakery nearby. It will have more products, bigger space, and lower prices." Maya's heart sank. She knew that a big bakery could easily take away her customers. She worked hard, but her resources were small compared to his. "I understand," Maya said softly. "But this bakery is more than just business. It's my dream and the community's dream." Mr. Lewis smiled coldly. "Dreams don't pay the bills, miss. I suggest you think carefully about your future." With that, he left, leaving Maya feeling worried and uncertain. That evening, Maya sat at the kitchen table, her hands trembling as she held a cup of tea. Lily and Jordan played quietly nearby, unaware of their mother's worry. Maya's mind raced. Could she compete with a big bakery? Could she protect her dream? She thought about giving up, but the thought of letting down her children made her heart ache. She remembered Thomas's words, "Hope can take us far." Maya wiped her tears and made a decision. She would not give up. She would find a way to keep her bakery alive, no matter the challenge. The next day, Maya visited Thomas's office. She told him about Mr. Lewis and the threat to her bakery. Thomas listened carefully, then nodded. "This is a challenge, yes. But not an impossible one." He stood and walked to a whiteboard, writing down ideas. "We need to show the community what makes your bakery special. Your kindness, your quality, and your heart." Maya felt hope rising again. "But how?" Thomas smiled. "We will organize events, bring people together, and let your story be heard." Over the next weeks, Thomas and Maya worked together. They planned small community events at the bakery, baking classes for children, story hours, and free samples for neighbors. Maya invited local artists to display their work in the bakery, turning the small space into a warm and welcoming place where people wanted to come. Slowly, the bakery became more than just a shop. It was a place of connection and joy. One Saturday, the bakery was full of laughter and music. Children baked cookies with Maya, and neighbors shared stories and smiles. Mr. Lewis walked by the bakery and stopped, surprised by the happy crowd inside. Maya stood by the door, smiling brightly. She felt strong and proud. Thomas came up beside her. "You did this," he said quietly. Maya nodded. "We did this." That night, Maya sat by her window, watching the stars. She thought about the challenges she faced and the strength she found inside. Her dream was not just about bread, it was about hope, community, and love. And no matter what came next, Maya knew she would keep going. The bakery had become a symbol of hope in the neighborhood. Maya's hard work and determination had created more than just a place to buy bread, it was a gathering spot where smiles were shared and friendships grew. Maya stood behind the counter one bright morning, watching as Lily and Jordan played with other children near the window. The sunlight warmed the room, making the bread smell even more inviting. Customers chatted happily, many stopping by not just for the food, but for the kindness they found in Maya's warm smile. Thomas was there too, sitting quietly in a corner with a cup of coffee, watching the scene with a proud look on his face. Maya thought back to the day when her card had been declined at the grocery store. She remembered the embarrassment, the worry, and the fear of not being enough. But more than that, she remembered the kindness of a stranger, a billionaire CEO who had chosen to see her not as a problem, but as a person with dreams. That kindness had changed everything. A few days later, the neighborhood came together to celebrate the bakery's first anniversary. The small space was decorated with colorful banners and flowers. Music played softly, and the air was filled with laughter. Maya stood in front of the crowd, her heart full. "I want to thank everyone," she began, her voice steady but full of emotion. "This bakery is not just my dream, it is ours. It is the dream of a community that cares, supports, and grows together." People cheered, and Maya looked at the faces she had come to know and love. Lily and Jordan stood by her side, holding her hands. "Mom, you did it," Lily whispered. Maya smiled, tears shining in her eyes. "We did it," she said softly. Later that evening, after the celebration ended and the last customers had left, Thomas and Maya sat quietly in the bakery. "Do you remember how this all started?" Maya asked. Thomas nodded. "I do. A moment that changed both our lives." He looked at her kindly. "You have taught me something important about strength, hope, and the power of kindness." Maya smiled. "And you taught me to believe again." As the weeks passed, Maya's bakery continued to grow. She hired a few helpers from the neighborhood, giving others a chance to work and learn. The bakery offered more than bread, it offered a new way of life, a way to dream and to achieve. Maya never forgot the difficult days, but she faced each new challenge with courage. She knew that with hope, kindness, and hard work, anything was possible. One quiet morning, Maya looked out the window at the busy street. She saw families walking by, children playing, and neighbors greeting each other. Her heart was full. She knew that this was only the beginning, not just for her bakery, but for all the dreams still waiting to grow. And with a smile, Maya whispered, "Thank you."